What up, gang? Good morning. Let's talk about these precon decks. I had the chance to play with the Bloomburrow decks on Mox Field and Spell Table with some friends this past weekend, and it was a lot of fun. There was some good stuff going on here. The decks all work. I'm going to say that up front. You're not going to have a bad time picking up any of these. We've gotten to the point where Wizards is pretty good at making a functioning deck right out of the box. But let me give you my opinions. I'll let you know how the game went. We'll go through upgrade potential, how many good reprints are in these decks, and if maybe you only need a single or two from these, that would make it worthwhile. You can maybe get more creative than what they gave you out of box, but let's get into it. All right, let's take a look at this animated army deck led by Bellow, Bard of the Brambles. It's a 3-cost commander that turns all of your enchantments and non-equipment artifacts into 4/4 elemental creatures with indestructible and haste, and whenever they connect and deal damage to a player, you draw a card. Bellow is the real deal. This thing is an immediate threat. You can develop your board state with tons of treasures, enchantments, artifacts, and then slap Bellow down, and then you have a threatening attack. You're going to be drawing a lot of cards, and this is something your opponents have to be ready for. They can never let their guard down because you can attack so quickly. So Bellow it's a must pick up. If you are a Gruul player like me, you love red-green decks, this is a card I'm hoping to get a single of. I don't think I'm going to buy the Precon deck personally because the actual value of the deck itself, I think it's the lowest of the bunch here actually. The only card, I wrote down a couple here, Greater Good in the enchantment spot is, that's a quality pickup, $8 or $9. And then Lotus Cobra, which is another reprint that's pretty good. You can't really take the new cards at face value here because it's pre-release. So August 2nd, these cards are all going to plummet in price. You don't really know what's going to stick. I'll call out one more card here I do like, a newer one. Right here, Trail Tracker Scout. So this is like a mana dork on steroids. It has add 1 mana of any color, cool. But whenever you expend 8, which basically just means how much mana you've spent to cast spells from your hand during a turn, you get to take a permanent back from your graveyard to your hand. So it's a mana dork that's going to get you something back late game potentially. Yeah, that's good. It replaces itself. It keeps recurring stuff from the graveyard. Yeah, this is a good one to watch out for. I'm looking to pick up this one and Bellow. Me personally, that's all you need. I'm not going to pay the $43 for the deck itself. These are the 2 cards I want. I can get creative with the enchantments, maybe make a treasure build. There's not a lot of treasure making going on in this deck. Maybe big score, but there's some creative stuff you can do here with Bellow. And this is a card I'm going to definitely pick up. Really cool commander. All right, let's take a look at Family Matters. So this is the deck that ended up winning the game, actually. Xenia, Valley's Voice. Really sweet card. It's got flying, and then in the Jeskai colors, you get X plus O, where X is the number of other creatures you control with base power 1. Creature spells you cast have Offspring 2. Offspring is a new mechanic where you can pay the additional cost, and you will get a 1/1 token copy of that creature spell. So you're going to have a board littered with 1/1s, with tons of rabbits, tons of soldiers, tons of Offspring creatures. You're going to have a really big flyer here. It's not necessarily going to be your Voltron win condition, but it can be. Your board is going to be full. You have the new the Elspeth reprint, and the nice mouse form here. This is one worth some money here, $8. The card down here though, Agate Instigator. This is like a win condition in itself. If you played this with like Impact Tremors in the deck, you can make 2 copies of this guy. And whenever another creature you control enters the power, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. So each opponent is insane. You're going to be able to be playing maybe 10 rabbits in a turn. You have 2 of these guys out, or one of them being a copy. You're dealing 20 damage to the board. Yeah, a Gate Instigator. This is on my list of cards I'm going to pick up. It fits in a lot of my Naya decks, a lot of my token decks. Awesome card. I think this deck has the coolest new cards. Not a lot of reprint value, but like Curiosity Crafter is a sweet card. There's some other ones here. Poliwag Prodigy. I had that in my notes here too. This one has Evolve, and then whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell with mana value less than Poliwag's power, you're going to draw a card. There's a lot of card draw and no hand size limit effects in this deck. This deck just works. It's just kind of good stuff. And yeah, this one ended up winning because we had a very timely Aetherize. I actually swung out with the Raccoon deck on the player that was remaining. And my buddy is like, oh yeah, you're going to return all your enchantments that I spent the whole game developing back to your hand. So you win some and lose some. Aetherize is in there, keeps you protected. So really fun deck. But all right, now we're on to Squirreled Away. This is the fan favorite. This is the Chatterfang deck. This is your Golgari Squirrels. Hazel of the Root Bloom is the real deal. This is something you can't leave unchecked at the table. You're going to get so much mana. You can pay 2 life, tap X untapped tokens you control, add X mana in any combination of colors. And at the beginning of your end step, create a token that's a copy of target token you control. If that token happens to be a squirrel, probably will be, instead create 2 tokens that are copies of it. Insane. Yeah, so if this sticks for even 1 or 2 turn cycles, your opponent's got like 30, 40 squirrels on the table. Like, good luck with that. Notably, this says untap tokens you control. So you're going to have a number of things like Academy Manufacturer, clues, foods, treasures, and squirrels. Yeah, this is going to get messy quick. The game probably took 3 hours because of the board state and how many board wipes we had. The squirrel player never really got to get going because right before it hit that, that point where it's like too much, too overwhelming, they just kept getting board wiped. So you got to keep doing that if you want to hang with this deck. A lot of reprint value. This is the note I made here. This deck is $47.50, so a little bit more than the other decks, but totally worth it. I mean, you're getting Chatterfang for $12 here. You're getting things like Scurry of Squirrels. I know that's a newer one, but the Toski's also in here for another $6. Maskwood Nexus, Skull Clamp. Like, there's a lot of good reprint value here, and you actually get a copy of Swarmyard, which is a new one, but you're able to tap this to regenerate target insect, rat, spider, or squirrel. This is one of those lands that's going to be very cool to see. These are going to hold a lot of value, I think, in these Kindred decks. Reprint value-wise, effectiveness, this deck works out of the box, but you already know people are going to be upgrading this one. There's a lot of squirrel decks already out there. They just got some new tools in the toolkit here. All right, and the last one, probably the most unique of the bunch, Miss Bumbleflower and the Peace Offering deck. So Miss Bumbleflower, this player got out to a big lead. They were in front the whole way. They had Miss Bumbleflower out. They were drawing cards. They were making people at the table feel good. Maybe you get a card. You get a card. Oh, I'm just getting some counters over here. Don't worry about me. And they were able to put on Swiftfoot Boots onto Miss Bumbleflower, keep her protected. You really need to keep her protected to get this thing to work. But you're giving flying till end of turn to a lot of your creatures. You're gaining counters. Bumbleflower gets pretty big pretty quick, and it's hard to attack into her. A lot of cool cards in this one too. You get the Tameo reprint as a rabbit. Awesome. The card I'm most intrigued about, though, people are going to build very cool Mr. Foxglove decks. This card is like the backup commander in this one, but it's got lifelink. Whenever it attacks, you draw cards equal to the number of cards in defending player's hand, minus the number of cards in your hand. If you didn't draw the cards this way, you may put a creature card from your hand on the battlefield. This is a win if you do, win if you don't type of situation. You're going to be drawing cards off of Bumbleflower. So in this case, with Foxglove and the 99, you're going to be able to cast creatures from your hand for free as the game goes on. You can build this deck differently, though. I wonder if there is like an aggressive version of this deck where you refill your hand, or maybe you cheat out even bigger creatures. There's a cool dynamic here with Mr. Foxglove, and I think there's going to be some cool decks out there. The Hydras put in a lot of work. Colonian Hydra is a great, card here. 1050. It's enters with 4 counters. Whenever it attacks, double the number of counters on each creature you control. And you're going to be placing a lot of creatures and a lot of counters on a lot of creatures, which also includes Bumbleflower, who's likely flying as well on that opponent's turn. So they're going to be packing a punch. They'll be doubling up on counters, and doing the thing. Now, the player got out to so far of a lead that he became a target very quick at my table. You got to be careful, kind of pushing the gas on this deck. People get greedy too. They see the other players, maybe they were gifted cards, but you weren't. You become a quick, crackback target too. Just something to gauge there, but you need a win condition at the end of the day. I think that's what this deck's missing. Yeah, you're doing a lot of cards. Your creatures get kind of big. You got to figure out other ways to win. So maybe Thassa, some other ways to win. Unique win conditions could really help this deck too. Let's take a look at pricing. The bundle is going for about $157. The individual decks right now, these have changed actually a little bit since I last looked at them. The Squirreled Away deck and the Animated Army deck are about the same price at $47, and then the other two are $43 and $41 respectively. So if you did the math, the best value for reprints would be Squirreled Away. Peace Offering is probably the most unique deck, with Bumbleflower being the prize there, and Mr. Foxlove there. Jeskai deck has some of the coolest new cards. I'm not sure if those will hold value, but this deck just works, man. Like, making copies of anything, a 1/1 token copy, is going to be such an easy build around. You can get very creative with this one. And then the Animated Army deck, I'm picking up Bellow. I don't really need the deck. I have most of those enchantments and artifacts already. But this deck's great too. If you do the math though, you're looking at $180 for these separately. You save about $23 with the bundle at $157. This is totally up to you. I gave you my thoughts. I think the best single deck, if you were going to purchase for value's sake, Squirreled Away. New cards, you got the Jeskai deck here. And if you're looking for something different, that's not normally from other sets, you're getting some unique gameplay out of the Animated Army and Peace Offering deck. But that's all I got. You guys make your decision at the end of the day. Let me know if you've had a chance to play these on Spell Table, or what are your initial impressions from the decks. But we're going to want to revisit this video and see which one was maybe the most purchased, or which deck went up over time. But I'm hoping to do some more breakdowns of these in the future for you. But that's all I got. Take a second, subscribe, help me out with this content here, and we're still doing that Velociraptor giveaway. I got the deck right over here for you. So, 1,000 subscribers, I'll be giving this one away. That's all I got. You guys are the best. Peace.